Hi everybody, I'm Gerone Wright here again, and once again you're joining me here on my Geronification YouTube channel. Alright, I have a video up here, well, an image here of the Last Judgment, and I come to decoding this image at the request of a fellow YouTube member, John Master, at his request that I'm actually doing this video. He linked me these two images. Two images. One, that one, and one with. I didn't never see this one before. I don't believe, but I did see this one before. Dante that he asked me to do as well. So I'm gonna decode both of these images. Okay. I usually try to stay off the Christian stuff because I noticed that even though it's all Renaissance folk art and stuff, a lot of people kind of afraid and get kind of edgy and scared when they see images of Jesus up there, and the fear that's instilled in them that they think it's some type of um, thing against Christ for me to do these videos or for them to watch them. So therefore, I try to stay away from them. Um, but you're gonna understand that these um, these references, these ancient biblical references, with Jesus and the saints and everything, um, is nothing more than what they're showing you is genetic bridging, and how our genes were altered from their original state of being that of ape and African and reptilian. Well, first reptilian, ape, and African, and how they evolved from those ancestors to subsequently becoming that more inner and outer Caucasian, and that's what this is all about. Which is logical once you think about it, because this explains how we evolved from our darkest of ape and African ancestor to becoming that of our Caucasian ancestors, which were later to come, and they're here on the tail end of this at this point. Now, I want to show you something over here. You see where there are people seemingly escaping and going into being condemned to the pits of hell, the fiery pits of hell, and I guess that's what the Last Judgment is all about here. Then it shows the kingdom over here, okay, and but what's all of this about? In the middle, you got Jesus there. He's got a ball here, and then he's over top of a ball. You know, what do that have to do with hell and heaven? Well, nothing. Nothing. What this is showing you is that there was a change in genetics, genetic alterings. All of these loops, all of these spirals, these different crazy insinuations, it's all about genes and the altering of genetics. Showing you a genetics. Look at this as a genetic belt, a genetic cycle. Look at this as blood, semen, our genes. And this is what you get. You can. This is a readable grail of how these individuals engaged in occult-like rituals that altered the genetics of mankind. I want to show you something over here. The demonic figures. Let me see if I can bring that in closer. The demonic figures in all of these earlier on Renaissance artworks, you notice that they're not red, but they're black. You see that? So when you Google this image, look at it. The demonic figures, the horned beings, they're not red as devils, they're black. The reason for being is that this is suggesting, and just like I told you in my other discoveries in my other videos, that demons were referenced as Africans, as people of color, because the genetic battle that those that evolved away from them reference them as demons and being demonic. Our ape ancestor and African ancestor genetics were a very, very difficult gene to escape from or evolve from. And therefore, this is where the terminology of demons and devils actually came from. Because to have those genetics still in you, they were described as being demons and devils. A bad gene. And that's how we got to that. So, in this first section here, these people here looking like they're in the fiery pits of hell, they're genetic sacrificers. They were thrown back in to be bridged back over, and this is another cyclination period during that period of Jesus, and it's showing you what's going on. There's a foundation laid across. You ever see? Let me give you an example of what's happening here. You ever back in the olden days, you see where a woman is walking along and she comes upon a puddle, a muddy puddle, and then a man or so would come, a gentleman would come and lay his coat down for her, or something down for her clean so she can walk across, bridge across so she can walk across a clean path. That's what these genetic sacrifices are. They're thrown in there to break down the genes of our ancient ancestor, with that of our ape and African ancestors. Gene being broke down. Now, then you see some falling out. Some manage to get pulled out over here. Then you see the demonic-like figure. There's a few of them here, but then you see the demonic figure over here, forking them back in, but you see some being escaped over. You read it for what it is. This genes. That's what this is. Showing you that they escaped. Reminds you of the impregnate, you know what you can read this as in a better description? You ever see how a woman gets pregnant, where these millions of sperms, these male sperms, in the reproductive system, the male sperm, out of all of those millions of sperms that actually shoot towards her womb to actually get her pregnant, only one actually penetrates. That's what this is similar to, that scenario. And then it shows you, but this is a targeted injection and an extraction. We have a saint here. In most cases, notice that the saints wear the shield. He's now shielded. The armor in black. He's shielded, showing you that he's wearing that armor as opposed to having the armor inside of him. He has conquered the armor. Which armor are we talking about? That of our black ancestor. He's wearing the shield now. So now he's considered a saint. He has victored and conquered. I'm going to show you how this is being said in another way as well too. In most cases, you see the saint actually slaying the dragon, slaying the fiery dragon. But in this case, you see this saint here in the Last Judgment. Now, notice that this saint has his staffs. This one here is going down to the crotch area of this person here, laid out. And look how this person is bridged back into the escaping people of that scenario that is over here. See that? bridge. Death and resurrection. See that going down at the crotch area? Coming back up at this other side, and there's the head of the cross. So, you don't see it, but you notice this nun-like figure here? Showing you that, how about if I showed you that she has actually drank the bodily fluids, the semen of this individual over here? That's what this is implying. Oh, you don't see it? Oh, here. Notice how her dark nun uniform here, her black holy outfit, her divine outfit. Notice how it comes stretched out. There's a face on the end of it that appears to be that of a monkey. Right here. The cross is stuck into its mouth, meaning that she was cross-referenced with these genes that were created in a cauldron cult-like way. Look at see the face right there? I think I have it highlighted. I'll show you the highlight, but look. There's the eye, there's the forehead, there's the nose, and there's the mouth. It's a reverse scenario of that of the nun. You see that? Whereas her white dressing, hair dressing, is on the face, and then the blackness is shown encrypted in her clothing there. Showing you, they can't show you that they can't draw this figure with her mouth open on to the crotch, the genitals of this being over here. So this is how they did it. They have the rod going up towards the cloak of her image, letting you know that she orally took in this individual. Then notice that there's another cross here of another staff going into this way to this black individual right here, and then going into this guy, and look, and showing you that he has his sword now into splicing into that, showing you that there is a genetic cross-referencing and splicing that has taken place through this entire scenario. Now, where do these genes go after that? Well, after this cocktail, this cauldron-like creation is made, they don't go to that kingdom called heaven. You know where they end up going? You see this kingdom right over here? They go to a royalty who is also in the genetic bridging process and the cyclination and the genetic manipulation of mankind. Shows you how these genes we are being genetically altered, and all those whom are involved in the process. Now, let's go back to this saint right here, because normally this saint is shown with a dragon, slaying a dragon, and his sword into the dragon's head, or into the dragon's body. There's his sword there. In this case, it's shown spliced into the staff, which is the cross, that's going over to the head of the cross into this nun's cloaked face, showing you that there's genetic cross-reference, and I'm not going to go back through all that now. So, what is being slain here in this case? Because we all know that in every case that you see a saint or man in armor in that Renaissance period, he's shown slaying the dragon, people. Let me show you what he's slaying in this case. When you Google the image, The Last Judgment, basically all you have to do, look down here between his feet, showing you that he's bridged over what he's slain. I'm going to see if I can bring that in close for you. And turn the image that counterclockwise, I believe. And you come in, and you will see a horned being down there. Well, hold on. You know what? This is the female's face that way. It's multi-dimensional. Hold on, I got my fingers there. There's one face there. Hold on, let me turn it around to get the... See that face down there? I highlighted it for you. It's actually two faces in one. See it there? Hold on, let me turn it back over. So turn it clockwise to get the horn being. And you will be able to see that too, people, when you Google this image. Right there. Hold on. I want to get that up there for you because I'm kind of far away from here. Where we at here? Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? See it right there? That's what you will see when you Google this image. The horn there and the face. And if you, I have highlights there, but you don't have to highlight it. All you have to do is pan in on it and you'll see the face without no highlights right there. That there, people, is the founding genetics of our 8th African ancestor. So, there's no dragon down there, but there is a horned being. Now, I just explained to you that these horned beings are referenced as that are our African 8 genetics. And that's why these beings over here are shown in color as being black. If you actually look, you can actually see that after they're bridged over and there's a breakdown, a degradation in the genes, you'll actually see emergence of a lighter skin individual of black likenesses actually emerging from the cauldron-like process. Now, that's one image. Well, hold on. Let me make sure that you actually see that face first of all. Here's the second face. Right there. You see it? Multi-dimensional. Shows you a horn being, then it shows you where the horn being loses its horn. Hold on. Alright. Oh, come on, where you at? Right there. There you go. Google the image, The Last Judgment. Guarantee you don't have to highlight nothing. Turn the image and you'll see that there. Now, why? I want you to ask yourself this question after I just explained all of this to you. If this is the last judgment, I mean, why is there encryptions there that I showed you here and here, people in color, and these balls, which represents the altering of genes, semen and blood. So, what in the world, people, is, and I'm explaining from one scenario to the next what is actually going on. These genetic sacrifices, with Jesus being the ultimate sacrifice, and the process was completed through him. These genetic bridgings. So, let's go to Dante, because that's very similar. Okay? Here in Dante, you Google this image, Dante is stating the same exact thing, almost, pretty much, that I just showed you there. Now, remember the castle, which represents royalty, kingship, queenship. This is not no word this individual is passing on. Genetics passed over. Where did these genetics come from? You look closely, the same exact, when you go Google this image of Dante, here's the old kingdom here. Just like here, over here. They don't have it as hell. They have it as, well, no, hell over here. They have, that's a fiery place. Here, it's represented as the old kingdom. It's torn down. You see that the remains, the ruins? You know what that is? Ancient ancestry. African, that's what that's representing. The ancient founding stones that calls for the likeness of that being. Now, when you Google that image, Dante, look at the figures, the demonic figures and the demons that you see there, their faces. That of Africans, blacks, and then ultimately down here in the hole down in here, I'll get that in closer to show you. Can I get that in closer? If you look at this horn being there, hold on. Let me make sure that I get that. Can we get that in closer? Where you at, horn being? He actually has big lips and a face of that of our African ancestry. Is that too much light? Maybe. I don't know if you can actually see that. But Google the image and you'll agree with me, I'm sure. An African's face, big lips and all. And what is that showing? Showing that this guy has genetically overcame, through that genetic manipulation process, the genetics of these beings that are over here. So, if you have ancient ancestry here, you have kingship and queenship here. What is this back here? You think that's heaven? Heaven on earth, maybe, you think? Nah. There's only one object in religion that appears in that way. It's telling you through, and you know what that object is? The different layers of a Pebbles cap. Showing you that through that institution of religion, genetic bridging, that's why these individuals are shown on each leg of this cap. A genetic bridging. You see that? Genetic bridging. Through levels of genetic bridging and manipulation, the genes of mankind was changed, and now emerging, this individual standing tall, standing before the kings and queens to complete the process. And what process is being completed? Well, you heard of royal bloodlines, Christ's bloodline. These new bloodlines are being created. And a periodic genetic cycling process that can take place in what I can imagine through my paranormal experience and encounter every 400 to 500 years. The first process that was actually, the first contamination can be actually re-intervened in that period of time. After the first intervention had, or first several or multiple interventions that, manipulations have already ran their course. Every intervention can actually take place. And that's what these drawings are all about, people. The old kingdom, you can call this Africa, you can call this Egypt, the Asian world, shown laying dormant, inferior now. This guy standing tall. See that? And if you look down in the hole here, just Google Dante, Last Judge. I don't know if this is the Last Judgment. Just Google Dante, Renaissance image Dante, and you'll see a few black faces over here, down here, demonic looking figure. Nope, the old founding stones rendered dormant because now emerging or the white counterparts from that process of genetic manipulation. This guy's shown small where he was once big, huge. Those genetics were superior. Now they pushed down, showing you that he's stepping over now. He's standing over those genetics. Just as this saint is showing you here. He's standing tall. He's defeated the genetics of the ape and African ancestor. Their genes are now inferior where they were once not. And this is why the title demons, devils were so rightfully used back then. They couldn't spell it out for you. I mean, could you imagine them going around in Christianity telling, well, those black genes are demonic. Those black genes are a devil. They're a devil to get out of our bodies. Those black genes are this. The black genes are this, that, and the third. People, this is what this is all about. The altering of genes. And that's why none of this made sense until now I come along and can read these Renaissance artists' artworks to you. The new founding genetics being shown, carried, semen and blood, through genetic alterings. New seeds. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. They don't outright show you. That's another thing, too, that you have to have a problem with all of this, is that it's amazing that the likenesses of these beings, these people, emerge from that of color people, but yet they don't reference them in a way of being side by side with them in these artworks, but yet in little small details and hidings, they reference them as demons. They didn't reference people of color in Africa. Now, we emerged from those people. Now, you got to know that they knew back then, because it's encrypted in all of their artwork. Bernini, Michelangelo, Rembrandt, Leonardo da Vinci, all of them have these references of how these genetics were bridged over Africans and apes, i.e. black people, Africans, but yet they didn't color or artfully color them incorporate them into their artwork. They encrypted them into the artwork. You know why? Because it's an ancient secret that you're not supposed to know. You're not supposed to know, but they knew back then. Through the 2nd century, I found evidence of it. 3rd century, 4th, 5th, 6th, as far as you can go back. This was always known. And here you have science just now just proving it. Just recently, supposedly, that all man emerged from that of Africans. But only because the oldest skull or skeletal remains were found of that ape. I forget her name. But because of that, that's the only reason why science has proven it. But see, that's the barrier that they place there for you, science. Everything has to be approved through science, because science is a barrier. Science is a barrier that was created by those that were committing these crimes against humanity in the first place. All of these roadblocks, science, religion, and then the myths, all created by the same people as barriers, as misleading roads to nowhere, as misleading bridges to nowhere. when the truth was always being enjoyed by them. The power in knowing who you genetically are, where you genetically can go, your genetic identity, what you can eat, I mean, everything for your well-being, physically, psychology, you know what I mean? I mean, it's all there for everything. Your mental, I mean, everything that who you are is all being candidly on display for you for art. But you didn't know what it was because all you keep seeing is these bizarre, and that's what the hell they are, bizarre images. Look at them for what the hell they are. This is cult related material and substance. Cult. Naked people, a man sitting here in divine status, cloaked over. If I was to do this shit today, I would be labeled as God knows what. But yet you accept this because they done plastered in your mind that this is divine. You got little kids down here. You got sticks going to penis and then up to mouths and hidden and all of this other crazy. And then even in the other Renaissance artists, it's the same exact thing. But because they depict it with wings and stuff on their back, it's okay with you. This is bullshit. I'm going to keep telling you and telling you over and over and over and over and over again. This is bullshit. Google this image. Turn it sideways. And I just explained to you what this all means. And then look at the horned being between his face in the dirt. You got my highlights there, but you don't need no highlights to see the face that is actually there. There's a horned being. There's the horn. And if you turn it the other way, it's a multi-dimensional face. So if you turn it the other way, and you'll see, turn it both ways. This way, clockwise and counterclockwise, because you got to face both ways. Okay? And what it's showing you is the same thing that every Renaissance artist is actually stating, that genetic sacrifices, genetic bridging, there's a bridge over. In these sacrifices, what's happening is there's homosexual acts, there's lesbian acts, there are bisexual acts. Yes, and Jesus was doing this mess too, and along with everybody else, Mary Magdalene, John the Baptist, and throughout our Renaissance artists, I mean not our Renaissance artists, but through religion today, our popes, our kings and queens. This is why they're all being linked to this stuff. This is why it's so well practiced today in religion. This is why these bishops and these deacons, this is why all of this stuff is going on today. And yes, with the nuns as well too. Just the nuns are keeping better. They say, always say, I gotta keep saying it, that women keep better secrets than men. This is the men is out there going to these guys coming forward talking about these priests and touched them and molested them all these 20 and 30 plus some years. The women, the same exact thing is going on amongst them, but they just, you know what? They probably have a more shameful way with them than our guys do. People saying, well, how come the nuns are not coming forth saying, no. What it is just showing you people that the nuns, for their virginity, and it makes sense, and everything that I'm telling you, this genetic bridging process, they are the plantation for these genetic bridgings, which involves them engaging in lesbian acts, bisexual acts with the men to create babies that end up in kings and queenships. These miracle babies that are not happening now, but was happening then. And this is how Jesus is supposedly have been born. Remember? A miracle baby with a virgin? Well, that's bullshit. If you can't, I mean, it's not going on today. Oh, yes, hold on. Yes, it is going on today. You're just not hearing about it. You know why? Because the miracle babies are being passed off as kings and queens kids. So you're hearing about it, but not from where it's supposed to source. Because you're far more intelligent now. Technology has it in a way where it's not going on today because You can't be doped with that. So babies that pop up, these miracle babies now, they have another identity. They're cloaked as royalty. Remember the what you call that I did, the video I did yesterday about sister. What was that sister's name? That nun. Oh gosh, I don't have her name here. Well, anyway, that confession of that nun there. I don't have her name here. Sister something. Sister Charlotte. That made that confession. Remember, look at that video that I just made yesterday about Sister Charlotte and her confession. About what she said she endured. Everything that she said that she endured is pretty much the gaps I filled in with my follow-up on that and telling you why I believed her, because through my paranormal experience and encounter, I know that they are genetic bridgers, genetic sacrificers, and unbeknownst to them, they don't even know it. My name is Gerone Wright. You're watching my Geronification channel, and the reason why I have Jesus back up here again is because someone asked me to do this video, or decode these images, and that's the reason. John Masters, the John Masters, from YouTube, a YouTube member. And what's happening, people, is these are cyclinations, just like this is. Shows you a cyclination. What's being cycled? The old kingdom, which was that of our ape and African ancestors, through religion. Here is the Pope's cap, representing Roman priesthood and Catholic kingships, queenships. Shows you a transporter, not of the word, but of those new genetics of blood and semen. Clergy, you know what they are? They're carriers. You know what they're carriers of? Contaminated genes. They are showing you, just like today when you have AIDS, you have those that can contract the HIV virus, those that can get it and they can carry the virus, and then those that are immune to it, all of that stuff there. It's starting to click and make sense to you? These people are experimenting with the genes of mankind and contaminating them in the process. And what is happening is old genes are being destroyed. An extinction process. A controlled, targeted gene manipulation and bridging process. And I like to show this guy's face because he looks like shit. This is what happens when you drink too much semen and too much blood. See his face? But you would never be able to prove this. You know why? Because when this guy dies, his body never goes to a regular hospital that all mankind goes to. No, they enjoy a private doctor that they control. Same thing with the nuns. Hold on, where the nuns at? You know why? They don't go. Their bodies don't go to a. Why are they so damn good that their bodies don't even go to a regular hospital? All the money that they get comes throughout the communities from the people that they worship. I mean, that praise them and worship them. So how come they don't go to a hospital that you go to? You know why? Because they can't. Because if they did, once their blood was drawn and a lab test was done on their blood, it would be seen that they were genetically contaminated with cross-contaminations of genes that should not be there. That nun, Sister Charlotte, says that their body, once they became that member of that nun, once they became the nun, crossed that road, there's no turning back. They died it. They can't speak to their family and friends no more. That's it. They're done. Their bodies are committed. They're the property of the Roman Catholic Church. No outside doctors, no nothing, no this, nothing. Their heads are shaved, as I told you, because of the fear. She didn't know that. She thought that because it was troublesome and all of that. Maybe possibly a little bit of them shaving their heads to take away their woman identity. But however, it's my position that their heads were shaved because what is lost with women? Their hair comes out of their head, and they didn't want these nuns' hair to end up somewhere in a lab somewhere being tested for DNA. Because if it was, then they would know. They would know. They would know. They would know that these people were genetically altered. Genetically altered. My name is Gerone Wright. You're watching my Geronification channel. And through that, people. Oh, horned beings. That horned being that's down there between this saint's leg. Actually, this guy. Here, let me show you something. Let me. That horned being that's down there. Shown. Oh, hold on. You can Google the image. The same horned being that's here. Since I'm on this, let me give you another horned being. And this Pope's wardrobe. I put the cross on his face there. That cross wasn't there. He's wearing a horn beam as well too. If you look closely at this image, there are horns on the head of the individual that is shown here on this priest's clothing or this Pope's clothing. And over here you have a saint. So you know what he's showing you? You want me to tell you? Can I? Are you with me on this? If you're with me on this, you should already know, because I done told you enough times what this actually means. That he is bridged over. He's in between this demonic figure, which represents that of our ancient ancestors, African and the ape, and the saint-like characters, which subsequently calls for his likeness and his bloodline, and his reddened face, because, like I said, it looks like he done drank too much semen and too much blood. Now, when you go for communion, what do they offer you in communion? That piece of bread, the body of Jesus. Well, you're not eating the flesh of Jesus, so what do you think you're getting? You're getting the semen of Jesus. And this is not too far-fetched to believe, people, because you know why? These people are creating off of Jesus, the basis of what Jesus done to sacrifice himself genetically. These genes are kept alive through these people. So in a cauldron-like way, you're going to communion. What do you think that they're giving you in that bread? I'm telling you that it's semen. Then you go to, they give you that glass of wine and say the blood of Jesus. So, how, I'm gonna go to something, but if they're giving you the blood of Jesus, and I'm telling you everything about this cross-contamination and everything that's going on, you're actually possibly getting just that, but not the blood of Jesus broken down through their new chemistry. Now, let's go back for a minute to see how sick this is. Because now that I'm thinking of this, I want you to see how sick this even sounds. These people are giving you a piece of bread and stating that this is the body of Jesus. That sounds just as sick to me as that nun, Sister Charlotte, was saying that they were telling her that she was married to Jesus. They placed a ring on her finger and said that she was married to Jesus. Now check this out, people. I want to go back to this again. They're putting a communion piece of bread in your mouth, stating that this is the body of Jesus. This is a white, small piece of so-called bread. Now, I like to say this part because when they put that thing in your mouth, don't you notice how they look in your mouth to make sure? Look, when that priest or that pope places that in your mouth, do you notice how they watch you put it in? Make sure that it doesn't go nowhere else but in your mouth. You ever notice that? Then when they give you your little cup of wine, they say the blood of Jesus. How fucking sick is that? Think about it. Think about it. There's nothing holy about that. That is a cult ritual in itself. Now, it took for me to think about it just now, because I mean, I'm getting angry as I'm thinking about it because I know what they're doing to you. But my thing is, think of how immoral that is. They're giving you a piece of bread, talking about this is a man that walked this planet like you did. That's just like me going, and at one point I elevate to this famous status, and I become real famous for everything that I'm doing now. And later on, as I'm becoming famous for everything that I'm saying about these people, a new religion, a cult-like religion comes up, and now they're hailing me as this wonderful person, the best thing since Christ and since God, because I disclose all of this information. I must be paranormal, as I say that I am, and I must be interlinked with everything in existence. So now, I'm dead and gone, and I'm going to live forever, by the way, too, people, because I know the way. So I got to add that in. But anyway, I'm dead and gone, and y'all going to ceremonies, occult-like rituals for me, Gerone Wright, and they're giving you a white piece of substance, and let's not say bread because Jesus is already using that, and they're saying the body of Gerone, and then they're giving you a reddened substance, and they say this is the blood of Gerone. Now, as sick as this may sound, think about it for a minute, people. As sick as this may sound, these people are taking this to heart. Look at this, and then with everything that's going on, the secrecy about them, how they used to treat everybody, not just women, but everybody, enslavement, everything, robbed, raped, everything, you name it, all the crimes against humanity was conducted by them first. And now they enjoy the government in which they have, the governmental institution in which they have, where they can't even be tried in a court of law anywhere. They have their own law. And on top of that, they have the privilege to enjoy and go anywhere in our world to enjoy amongst our world, but we can't do the same in their world. Complete immunity. Bullshit. And then go a greater slap in the face. They're allowed to take money out of our communities. Tax-free dollars, by the way. And you, as the people that give them your money, you don't even have a right to know what's running through their bloodlines. They don't even go to the same hospital that you got. They got their own hospital. They don't even offer their hospital facilities to their parishioners, to the people that give them the money to run these places and have these places. Bullshit. And the kings and queens of our world is no better. Same exact thing. People, demonic figure right there with horns. There's the right horn, there's the left horn. He's bridged over. He's wearing his tasseling, showing you he's bridged over. Calls for who he is today. Same thing is being said here. And the same thing is being said here. And you see the demonic figures there. You see the demonic figure there between his leg that I showed you. Google the image. These demonic figures represents our black ancestors as they are being shown. Even here in these Renaissance artists. The further you go back in these Renaissance artwork, the further you go back, the more and more of the likenesses are geared towards that of our ape. They look like apes and they look like Africans. Google the images. Go look at ancient demonic figures. They'll look like black apes at first. Then they'll start looking like our black African ancestors. And then they'll start looking more like the red demonic figures that throw you off, which represents that of the blood. You know what I mean? But it's still telling you the same exact thing, because you can't come from one era to the next. That's the beauty in these Renaissance artists' artwork. You can't have them looking like apes at first, and then Africans next, and then finally red demonic figures, and then now you're encrypting them out all together, because all you have to do, that's what's good about these Renaissance artworks, people, is all you have to do is go to the beginning ones first, and then come through, and you can read the message. They're painted on canvas, people. If these demonic figures are looking like apes with horns at first, and then looking like Africans the next, and then all of a sudden looking like red figures, and people, are we that naive that we cannot? Pictures say 1,000 words. All you have to do is look at this Renaissance artwork for what it really is. It just so happens that through my genuine paranormal experience and encounter, which allows me to see multi-dimensional images, that I were able to bring you, to show you the multi-dimensional messages that is being read here. So now, through that, I have your attention. Now everything seems to make common sense to you, because before that, people, what in the hell would inspire an artist to make something like this? Seemingly doesn't make no damn sense. Damn good art, though. I agree. This is damn good artwork, but it just doesn't make no common sense. Until now. Until now. Again, same thing. Damn good artwork, especially for the era. You probably figured 13th, 14th century. Damn good artwork. But it just doesn't make no damn sense. Not until now. It's an inward battle of genetics. It's as if I was running through my veins. Running through your veins. That's what this is all about. Genetic battles. There's a lot of other Renaissance artwork that can be read. The Bible can be read. I like to always say that I didn't understand a damn thing in the Bible before. Nothing. Since my paranormal experience and encounter, which allowed me to have a multidimensional sense of awareness, and a multidimensional sense of vision, and a multidimensional sense of knowledge, period, I can read the Bible now to know exactly what the hell it's saying. From the beginning and throughout, I tested myself to go through a couple different pages here and there, and in every sense, all it is talking about is how these genetics are muled from one person and carriers. They're carriers. They're muled from one carrier to the next, from one location to the next, and contamination nations. Slaying of dragons. We all know that there was no dragons in our time, supposedly, but genetically there are, because we are a genetic extension of that creature, dinosaurs and dragons. These genes are in us. These people knew it. So when you see them talking about a saint or a king slain of a dragon, they're talking not of the dragon in the sense of that creature, but the genes of that creature. They genetically overcame that creature, and now their body is more dominating in the way and the genes that they genetically bridge themselves over with to overcome that gene that they're referencing, which is down there beneath their feet. In this case, it just happens to be that of a African ape ancestor right there. When you look at this individual on another side, in fact, he got dragon wings on him, to be totally honest with you. But that's another representation of angels and all of these beings. It's a representation of the bird, which is a representation of our ancient dinosaur. People, wake the hell up. Stop being afraid of this. You should be afraid of is this and what they are genetically doing to us. The crimes against humanity that these people are conducting. And it's not, hold on. I'm not just suggesting this against popes, kings, and queens. I'm alleging this against globally. Every ancient institution globally. Through China, through Japan, through Russia. All of our ancient civilizations from whom were not brainwashed and their identities were not stolen and destroyed. Because I really truly believe that Africa been raped and robbed to the point that where their identity, they don't even realize that they had an identity at one time and they were dominating our world. And I know how the process begun and where they lost all of this. I can create our world's best movies off the knowledge that I have. Movies that you watch now on TV, The Hobbit, um, I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. But these movies that seem to go in an off-dimensional place, in the way Hollywood had made some of our movies based on some of the information that they know about this, because Hollywood is in on this too, Disney and a whole lot of other people that I'm gonna bring the curtain down on. Look at my videos that are here. This knowledge is actually enjoyed amongst a select few of people, and it's like it's not gonna happen no more. It's not gonna happen no more. All right. Heads are going to roll behind this. But what you need to do is you need to keep getting my message out to others. Show others my videos. I'm not asking for nothing more, just to share my videos. You know, I'm already going to be rich. I already know I'm going to be rich and famous off of this. I already know that already. As these people were famous, our kings and queens, and Jesus, and those artists that made these artworks, all of these people that had fame and fortune behind all of this, everything that I'm going to have is going to be far more greater, because everything that I know is genuine. And what has been given to me is the greatest gift of all. My name is Gerone Wright. You're watching my Geronification channel. Stop being afraid of this stuff. You need not be afraid of this. Trust me. You should be more afraid of not knowing who you are. With that, I stop. Also, look at my how my experience and encounter unfolded on alien UFOs, dreams and experience, that forum, and as I'm an alien and so are you. Thank you. My name is Gerone Wright, and I'm out. Sacrifices. They were thrown back in to be bridged back over, and this is another cyclination period during that period of Jesus, and it's showing you what's going on. There's a foundation laid across. You ever see? Let me give you an example of what's happening here. You ever back in the olden days, you see where a woman is walking along and she comes upon a puddle, a muddy puddle, and then a man or so would come, a gentleman would come and lay his coat down for her, or something down for her clean, so she can walk across, bridge across, so she can walk across a clean path. That's what these genetic sacrifices are. They're thrown in there to break down the genes of our ancient ancestors, with that of our ape and African ancestors. gene being broke down. Now, then you see some falling out. Some manage to get pulled out over here. Then you see the demonic-like figure. There's a few of them here, but then you see the demonic figure over here, forking them back in, but you see some being escaped over. You read it for what it is. This genes. That's what this is. Showing you that they escaped. Reminds you of the impregnate, you know what you can read this as in a better description? You ever see how a woman gets pregnant, where these millions of sperms, these male sperms, and in the reproductive system, the male sperm, out of all of those millions of sperms that actually shoot towards her womb to actually get her pregnant, only one actually penetrates. That's what this is similar to, that scenario. And then it shows you, but this is a targeted injection and an extraction. We have a saint here. In most cases, notice that the saints wear the shield. He's now shielded. The armor in black. He's shielded, showing you that he's wearing that armor as opposed to having the armor inside of him. He has conquered the armor. Which armor are we talking about? That of our black ancestor. He's wearing the shield now. So now he's considered a saint. He has victored and conquered. I'm going to show you how this is being said in another way as well too. In most cases, you see the saint actually slaying the dragon, slaying the fiery dragon. But in this case, you see this saint here in the Last Judgment. Now, notice that this saint has his staffs. This one here is going down to the crotch area of this person here, laid out. And look how this person is bridged back into the escaping people of that scenario that is over here. See that? The bridge. Death and resurrection. See that going down at the crotch area? Coming back up at this other side, and there's the head of the cross. So, you don't see it. But you notice this nun-like figure here? Showing you that, how about if I showed you that she has actually drank the bodily fluids? Hi everybody, I'm Gerone Wright here again, and once again you're joining me here on my Geronification YouTube channel. Alright, I have a video up here, well, an image here of the Last Judgment, and I come to decoding this image at the request of a fellow YouTube member, John Master. After his request that I'm actually doing this video, he linked me these two images. One, that one, and one with, I didn't never see this one before, I don't believe, but I did see this one before, Dante, that he asked me to do as well. So I'm gonna decode both of these images. Okay, I usually try to stay off the Christian stuff, because I noticed that, even though it's all Renaissance folk art and stuff, a lot of people kind of afraid and get kind of edgy and scared when they see images of Jesus up there, and the fear that's instilled in them, that they think it's some type of thing against Christ for me to do these videos, or for them to watch them. So therefore, I try to stay away from them. But you're gonna understand that these references, these ancient biblical references, with Jesus and saints and everything, is nothing more than what they're showing you is genetic bridging, and how our genes were altered from their original state of being that of ape and African and reptilian. Well, first reptilian, ape, and African, and how they evolved from those ancestors to subsequently becoming that altered the genetics of mankind. I want to show you something over here. The demonic figures. Let me see if I can bring that in closer. The demonic figures in all of these earlier on Renaissance artworks, you notice that they're not red, but they're black. You see that? So when you Google this image, look at it. The demonic figures, the horned beings, they're not red as devils, they're black. The reason for being is that this is suggesting, and just like I told you in my other discoveries in my other videos, that demons were referenced as Africans, as people of color, because the genetic battle that those that evolved away from them reference them as demons and being demonic. Our ape ancestor and African ancestor genetics were a very, very difficult gene to escape from or evolve from. And therefore, this is where the terminology of demons and devils actually came from. Because to have those genetics still in you, they were described as being demons and devils. A bad gene. And that's how we got to that. So, in this first section here, these people here looking like they're in the fiery pits of hell, they're genetic that more inner and outer Caucasian. And that's what this is all about. Which is logical once you think about it, because this explains how we evolved from our darkest of ape and African ancestor to becoming that of our Caucasian ancestors, which were later to come. And they're here on the tail end of this at this point. Now, I want to show you something. Over here, you see where there are people seemingly escaping and going into being condemned to the pits of hell, the fiery pits of hell. And I guess that's what the Last Judgment is all about here. Then it shows the kingdom over here. Okay, but what's all of this about? In the middle, you got Jesus there. He's got a ball here, and then he's over top of a ball. You know, what do that have to do with hell and heaven? Well, nothing. Nothing. What this is showing you is that there was a change in genetics, genetic alterings. All of these loops, all of these spirals, these different crazy insinuations, it's all about genes and the altering of genetics. Showing you a genetics. Look at this as a genetic belt, a genetic cycle. Look at this as blood, semen, our genes. And this is what you get. You can. This is a readable grail of how these individuals engaged in occult-like rituals